and we've sprung a leak. So
we're Stephen and Mags, and together with our 3 kids, Louis, Neve and Oliver, we're starting out on the biggest adventure of our lives, swapping city life for an off-grid homestead. After years of dreaming about making a change, we sold our house in the UK, packed up all our belongings and made the 1,500-mile trip to southern Spain with the hopes of creating the dream family home and a new life in the sun. Follow our story from the very beginning as we begin the journey of creating our off-grid home.
Hola everyone, buenos dias, we're back and we've sprung a leak. So the main pipe that we use for watering, which is connected to our hose, which we use to water all the plants and to keep water going to the chickens, which are on the other side of this wall in the barn, has burst. And I think it's just that the sun has got the better of the pipe. It's been there for years, been there a lot longer than we have in this house. And it seems to have frayed and split. I think it's where it's been getting bent on the floor. So we need to see to that today, because it is important that we've got water to water the plants and keep the greenhouse wet and see to the chickens. But we've also got some other jobs that we need to be getting on with around the place as well. So we're going to have to trim it out today. I'm going to start preparing the beds for where we're going to plant our corn. We're starting sweet corn seeds off, and we're going to start getting the area ready for that. Tin over, putting all the organic material, or as much as we can, back into the soil and rotating it over. So that eventually it's ready for that. Max has been working on a table, so you might have seen if you looked on Instagram, we've both been working on tables. I've made a little rustic one, it's not quite finished yet, that we're going to put in the little vegetable plot area so that when we go out and sit down for a break we can use that. And Max has been working on a mosaic, she's going to give it an update on. And in the meantime I need to get this hose seen to, get the strimmer out and start tackling some of the weeds we've got around this place. And because the heat is now out after the cold and the wet, the place has just come to life with the weeds. So let me show you. Obviously these are growing all nice and green because they're completely soaking from where the pipe's burst. And if you look, this is, make sure I don't put my fingers in a nettle. You can see there, that's where the pipe's burst, if the camera focuses properly. So we need to see to that, probably shorten the main pipe that comes in, because we still use this hose which we trail everywhere. And then there's weeds everywhere else that needs seeing to. So this isn't too bad. We brought out the flame, Chemidora, I don't know what it's called in English, the weed burner. So we use that on most of these. So these have been kept down and in control. However, when we go over to more towards where we grow all the food and stuff, the place is overrun. So you can see like that, it's overrun. Again, most of these have been done with the weed burner before, but the back and then into this area. This is the area I'm going to be working on to get the corn planted up, and they are really high, so they're definitely going to need the weed trimmer. And also this corner of the vegetable plot where we haven't rotavated because there's so many weeds. So that's the first job on the list for today. Before we crack on with jobs, I just wanted to show you how the little greenhouse is doing. Our plants are doing brilliant, and the ones that Max planted up would have been a week ago nearly. I've come on great.
These are the ones that we done last week. So these are all the marigolds, and they've all germinated, and that's literally a week ago. You know, they've come up really quick. All the lettuce and kale have come up as well, and it's amazing the difference a heat mat has made to the germination of the seeds. We've got others up here too that we haven't put on a heat mat that we've just swapped over today, so hopefully they'll start germinating as well. We've got some on the back row.
Courgette today on the back.
Courgettes, I think. Well, that's what you've labelled them as.
Yeah,
so.
black seed courgettes.
So we'll go with that, yeah.
And then on this side we've got the wallflowers coming on really well. They need to be repotted now.
They need to be repotted, yeah.
Yeah, they need to be potted on. And then, what are they in there, Marix?
So these ones are spring onions in this one, and celery in this. So they're all spring onions because the kids love spring onions.
Yeah.
And the celery's in this one too. And then we've even got one lonely little comfrey plant coming up.
Yeah, can't wait for that to come up. And then other stuff in the back as well, peas, broccoli, cabbage, etc. They need to be potted on too. But they're doing really well, and I'm really chuffed with the heat mat to you.
Yeah, I am. I don't know, I think the heat mat's made a difference, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, okay, right, I'm off to go and do my stuff. You going to do yours?
I'm going to get out before the bus we get.
Okay. See you in a minute. So Mags has gone off to do a thing and go and start collecting some of the vegetables that need harvesting. I'm in here to come and get the strimmer. It's actually set up as the chainsaw now that we used to do the pomegranate trees with. I'm going to change it over and turn it into a strimmer, but while I'm here, I'll show you the table that I've been working on. This is it, made from pallet wood. All the little scraps we had left over. Not finished yet, it still needs more sanding done to it, and some little trim pieces putting on it, and then painting up a little bit. But yeah, that's the little table. Just it's going to go out and be somewhere where we can sit outside. I'll put a little clip in of how it got to this stage now, while I go and set up the strimmer, ready to go and trim all the weeds. So while it's nice and sunny, I'm outside doing some work in the little garage workshop thing we've got. When we moved into this house, we had no furniture, so one of the local restaurants that we used to go to for breakfast was getting rid of all the furniture in the restaurant, and they said that we could take one of the tables that they were getting rid of. We had no dining table at the end when we moved in. It did extend into a 6-seater, but we've shortened it and put it into a 4-seater. And what I'm going to do is cover it with pallet boards to try and make it a bit stronger. It wasn't the strongest table ever, it was quite wobbly. But we're going to cover it, make it look a bit more rustic, and then we're going to use it in the garden area where we sit, so that we can sit out amongst the vegetables or take a rest when we're planting, because there's nowhere to sit at the minute. We end up sitting on little stools or on the floor. So this is what I'm working on. It was just a black old table. It's quite dirty. We've been using it for putting stuff on at the minute. But I started putting some edging on it, just seeing what it would look like with some pallet boards. It's already much more sturdy because I've strengthened it with screws. We've got this pallet board and this pallet wood that I've sorted out of our big pile of wood, which is now under the cardboard. And I'm going to try and cover it and try and make it look a bit more rustic, a bit more pretty than it is. But while I'm out here on my own, just give me something to do. So that's the weeds, and I'm just about to get started on trimming them. However, what I did want to point out is this bit behind us has no weed killers, no chemicals or anything like that put on it, and you can see the abundance of weeds we've got. If you look by contrast, the bit the farmer deals with and looks after behind us, he does spray with weed killer and he does rotivate often, but there's not one single weed. And all the way along the land that he uses, you can see right down the rows, right down there, there's not a single weed. And when you come to the line between the bit he looks after and the bit we look after, you can see the weeds start, and then it just turns into an abundance of weeds. Now, we did burn all the palm leaves and stuff like that we had before on this section when we got our fire license, but we're going to rotivate, spread that out, and then rotivate all the ash and the charcoal into the rest of the land. And then we're planning on planting a block of sweet corn out here, but first of all we need to deal with this. But I just think it's really interesting that you can see the clear line between the bit that is treated and the bit that's not treated, and you can see where it all starts. So, onward trimming.
Well, it's finally time to cut down our veg that we've got grown here. So the first one is the cauliflower. So cutting the cauliflower, you need to cut it just underneath the curd, just there. Sharp knife all the way through. So we've got lots of others to do, but once you're finished with cutting the top off, you need to just remove the whole plant, because actually, not like broccoli where it gets little shoots off it, cauliflower doesn't do that. So if you just remove the whole plant, ready for planting something else. Anything that we've got wasted, so the cauliflower we'll have, anything that's not good, and the leftover leaves, we're going to feed them all to the chickens as well. So that's it, our cauliflower harvest and our last broccoli. We do have one of these as well, and that just means that it's been sun damage. We just left it too long in the sun, but it won't go to waste because the chickens will get it. And my next task is to take all that over to the chickens, and I'm sure they'll have a feast today.
So we're taking a break, we're going in for a cup of tea and something to eat. But as we were coming in, the lovely farmer Juan, who looks after all the asparagus fields, has just come over and given us all these, look. 2 massive bunches of asparagus. There's absolutely loads in here. We've had these a few times often now, so when he goes out, he comes, the workers come every day and harvest the asparagus. and he's just come over and give us 2 big lovely bunches, so they'll make a nice meal. Thanks, man. Now that the pipe's fixed, I've decided, even though it's really hot, I'm going to brave it and see if I can get the rotavating done. Just because it means then during the week we can go and plant the rest of the stuff we want to plant in there without having to get the rotavator back out as well, which obviously takes longer than just going to put some seeds out. So I'm on my way over. I want to go and see if I can brave the heat. Well, I think I got a bit carried away. Not only did I do the side of the field that we're going to plant on, I've also done all in between the trees, right up to the entrance of the little garden, and this side of the field as well. I just thought, while it's out, I might as well do the lot. So it's done, it's nice and fluffy, ready to plant in. Just put some compost in and make the little hills for when we come to plant in. But the soil's prepared, hooray! And I'm sweating, absolutely sweating. Well, I decided I'm just a glutton for punishment, and I couldn't put the rotavator away until I did the last job that we wanted to do with the rotavator, which was down by the chicken coop. So the bit of land that we've been clearing by the chicken coop, we want to be able to put some pumpkins or something like that just to grow right along it and cover it up. But it was all different types of soil. There was manure dumped there from the goats that had been there before, all sorts on it. So I've cleaned it out as best I can, took the rotavator to it, and now the big hills that were there are little hills. But it's almost mixed it all in and it looks better, so now we can get to work on being able to level it a bit more and get it ready for planting. One thing I did find is that when I was rotavating it, there seems to have been years worth of rubbish just buried underneath it, so as I was rotavating, all plastic bags were coming up and stuff like that, so we need to go through and clean them out. But for now, it's been rotavated, the rotavator is away and I'm not doing any more today. So started from this little bit because Mags's beehive is going to go down here. So I've left a little path along there which is not rotavated, so it's hard enough to walk on. And then push back a little bit further into the shrubs that were there. If I take you around, you can see the line of up to where it's done up to, which is here. That's the workers' car because they're out in the fields picking the asparagus. But yeah, all that bit is done. Now I just need to go through, pick all the rubbish up, pick the plastic up, move the workers' plastic that they use for covering the asparagus over the back, and then what we're going to do is, when we level this out, is take some of the soil that's there and cover Crap Mountain, which is years worth of rubble and tiles and all sorts, and cover that up, and we've got wildflower seeds. We'll see if we can grow them on that side. to make it look a bit better. And then this area should look nice and clean, especially when we've got all pumpkins and whatnot growing in it, or whatever we can manage to grow. But yeah, I think that's it for rotavating today. I'm not touching it again, and it's safely away in the shed. So the last thing I want to do is pot on some of the stuff that we've had in the greenhouse, some of the broccoli, some of the peas, which are getting too big for the cells, but we don't want to put them out just yet. So I want to give them a bit more room to grow, a bit longer in the greenhouse before we put them outside. And one thing I just want to say is, don't get rid of any of your pots. So if you've got pots that you've bought stuff in, we keep all of them that we've got. I mean, these are just a few, we've got loads in the shed. This one was from herbs that we'd bought, probably basil or mint or something like that. But the pots are good, there's no reason to go out and have to buy more if you've already got ones that you've had before that you've paid for in effect when you bought your plant. So we keep them all. We got given these trays at the bottom by a friend who knew that we needed some pots, which is great. So my plan is I'm going to split the English wallflowers. There's about 3 or 4 to one cell, and I want to split them and give them their own individual cell in these ones. In these pots, I'm going to use these for some of the broccoli, some of the peas, etc. that we've got going, which again are not ready to go out there yet because we need to just prepare the bed. But I don't want a chance leaving them in the little cells for any longer than they need to be because they're going to run out of nutrients. So I'm going to have a pot on these. I've got some good pot on mix again, mixed with vermiculite and some perlite in the bag. As you can see that on there next to me. So I'm going to get pot on and then get them all put away before the sun goes down.
So I've come to join Steve because he's losing the will to live. So I'm planting the other half of the wallflowers. And just to say that he made me do my nails after having the first date night in about how many years, Steve? Many.
Many.
Now my nails just look like they did yesterday.
We are nearly done for today though. We're going to call it in a minute just because it's getting late and it's a school day tomorrow, so we've got things to do. I'm nearly finished. We've repotted the peas because some of them are getting a little bit leggy in there. Mags's dragon egg, if you remember from the other week, is turning out to be like Jack and the Beanstalk. We're going to get a little stick to put in that one to keep it going. We're leaving the tomatoes in for now, so some of them will stay in. We've got peas, spinach, broccoli and purple broccoli, so they're all in separate pots. These ones aren't going to go in the field. These are going to go in the little potager garden in some of the crates, so we're going to let them get a bit more established in there and then we'll be able to transplant them out. Anyway, we're going to leave it there for this week, and we're going to finish potting these and then head off inside and start getting things ready for a school day tomorrow. Hope you've enjoyed the video. If you have, give us a thumbs up, a like. Don't forget to click the notification bell to know when we release the next video. Leave us a comment down below or let us know what you think of what we're doing, and we'll see you in the next one. Hasta luego.